Hey, what's up guys, it's Zenith with part 2 of the two-parter series where I do talk about my controller. Now if you are interested and you did miss part 1, that's where I talk about my current controller, but of course I was in need of a new controller using that old one for quite a while now. And of course the good folks at Battle Beaver Customs were generous enough to give me a couple parts that I would need to build that new controller. So I thought, as a token of appreciation, along with showing you just what it looks like, I'll be going over a lot of the cool features that they actually did include with the controller parts that they did give me. Now all of these features are things that are offered by the company that you can actually find currently in their pre-built controller section. What those are pretty much controllers that they have already assembled, and they offer a variety of different modifications that include what I'm going to show you, plus more things like lubricated triggers and many other aesthetic or performance minded modifications. As I'm going to tell you throughout the video, all of these things that you find on my controller will also be offered by them in the future via maybe a custom controller builder, their previously established pre-built controller section, or even a send-in mail feature. So this video kind of doubles as a review of a lot of the features that they have and also a showcase of the new controller. Now I spent a lot of time thinking about what the most optimal way to go about making this video would be, and the reason why it took kind of a long time is because I actually did already assemble it and film myself assembling it. I did want to use it for a good amount of time just so I could get a good feel of what the controller was like, and now that the time has passed, I do feel comfortable telling you all about my opinions on all of the various features that came with my Battle Beaver Customs controller. So if you follow me on Twitter, you saw the kind of the theme of the controller I was going for. Of course, I wanted to emulate the famous Solo Cup from the 90s era. That's what the whole kind of inspiration was. Yeah, I think this came out super good. I was going to include like a little montage of just putting this all together, but I thought it'd actually be better if I took it apart piece by piece so I could elaborate on certain things and just, like I said, tell you all about the different features, because this controller has a lot of cool stuff going along with it. In terms of looks, it is a light blue shell on the bottom and a regular white shell on the top. The buttons are Battle Beaver buttons. They are short buttons because I have the tall button pad underneath, which I'll show you. Light blue and white are the colors. Now this actually isn't professionally painted or anything, which is something I actually would love to do in the future, but just to get the look of it, I actually had to cut out a sticker myself and actually just try to get the perfect shape, which is why it looks a little janky, and that's something I'm really gonna be looking forward to redoing in the future when I get better tools to do so. Of course, I have my raised trigger, and everything else for now is the same. Of course, if you notice, this does come with a Paracord Cable, which is actually my favorite feature. I saw these on Twitter, and I'm sure you guys might have as well, and you might have thought, wow, those are really cool looking cables. And if you were wondering where they're from, they are from Battle Beaver. Now this is a very thin cable. This is more of like a prototype that I'm testing for them. The real cable that they're offering right now comes in a variety of colors, and it is really nice and actually and thick. What I like about this is it feels incredibly sturdy, and like I said, just the color variations on both of these look amazing to me. Now for things like the paracord and every other feature that's going to be showcased in this video, I want to let you guys know that they are available through Battle Beaver. However, just at the moment, they can only be found on, I believe, custom built controllers. However, they're going to have a send-in feature in the future, which is going to be really exciting for anybody who's interested. You'd be able to send your controller in and get whatever you want really done to it. So if anything in this video really fits your fancy, make sure to hit them up for it. Alright, so taking this off, the backplate actually doesn't feature too many things that are different to my old controller. Taking it apart real quickly, you can see that it is almost identical. Just a standard trigger with a trigger brace, just because, like I said countless times, that's just my preference. I do love shorter springs, which I was lucky enough to find. Usually I would cut my springs, but these came short, and I do, of course, rock the short Battle Beaver trigger plugs in both my left and right trigger. The right trigger is basically the same, but of course with the raised trigger top, which a lot of you did say you're very interested in, which is very cool to hear, that a lot of people are kind of in the same boat as me and would be interested in looking into raised buttons and triggers. Now the Z button I have is of course just regular stock. However, Battle Beaver did send me black D-pads and Z buttons, which both look incredibly cool. The only reason I didn't use them on this controller is because I just didn't feel like it fit the theme. I felt like, in this case, indigo or purple, whatever the Z button is, just kind of fit more with the pattern that I have going on here. Now, just like my old controller, the rumble is disconnected. That's just a preference of mine, just so I don't have to deal with the hassle of turning it off or worrying about it at all. The buttons, like I said, have the tall button pad, and they are just the regular Battle Beaver Customs buttons, of course, looking as clean cut and as cool as ever, and the D-pad's just a regular one. Now I can finally get to talking about the board of this controller, which really was the meat of this controller. It was 100% the piece that I was most excited to get in, because although this controller was really kind of like a themed controller, going for the whole food cord cup aesthetic, the uniqueness of this controller is actually not just skin deep, because this board actually features a lot of cool things that, like I said, in the future will be offered by Battle Beaver. Of course, the obvious one that you can see really clearly is the braided cord, but there are two major things that have been done to this controller that I really actually do enjoy. The first one, if you can see, or rather hear, is a Tactile Z Button. Now honestly, this was the biggest thing for me to get used to up front, because of course a regular Z button, they all have like a decent kind of click to it. Some are more subtle than others, but in general it can be described as mushy. Really, anytime you see a tactile or clicky Z button is on a knockoff controller, which a lot of people actually did enjoy on knockoff controllers. I know, at least personally, I kind of liked it. I found it interesting. Definitely the best part and the only redeemable part about a knockoff controller. But they took that and they put it onto a real controller that can be used. Now this feature is actually something that completely just goes down to preference. If you feel that you want a really clicky Z button, which is something that a lot of players, I know Hungrybox likes a very clicky kind of Z button, because it all really is feel. It's definitely more pronounced when you press down on it. One thing I had to get used to is actually it takes more force to press down on than a regular Z button, ever so slightly. But in the process, you really feel when you're pressing the button, which in a lot of cases for a lot of people is something that they would really like. So this is definitely the most interesting feature. The fact that they actually were able to put something like this on, I think is really amazing, because for all the players who really wanted a tactile feeling, clicky Z button, you no longer have to scour the controller market looking for Z buttons that happen to have a bit more of a pronounced click feel than others. If it's something that you want and if it's something that you prefer, you can just get it straight from Battle Beaver. The second big thing done to the controller board is fixing snapback. Now if you're not entirely sure what snapback is, I'll actually link a very well written Smashboards post in the comment section by Kadano, where he goes in depth in talking about snapback issues, but I'll try to paraphrase it as best as I can. Snapback is yet another thing that can go wrong with your controller and separates good controllers from quote-unquote bad controllers. So it is very controller dependent. So what it basically is anytime you have an input to one side of your controller, when the controller is flicking back to its neutral position, the stick will physically pass the middle point and actually go and give you analog values in the opposite direction. Now, depending on the way that your controller pulls this information, it could actually give you unintended inputs. For example, if you're shooting an aerial laser to the right side, so you have your control stick here and you jump and you let it go, depending on how bad your snapback problem is, there's a chance that your controller will actually recognize your controller going past the middle point into the left side as an input and give you a laser in the opposite direction. Snapback does affect every character's neutral B move. Like I said before, Falco and Fox retreating lasers, the Sheik's turnaround needles, these are all things that can be made more difficult to do because of a snapback issue. Now what Battle Beaver offers is a fix to this, and the way that they do it is by putting a resistor inside the control stick box. Unfortunately, unlike other controller dependent things, this isn't currently fixed in UCF as far as I know. So now after using this controller and testing it with multiple characters, what do I actually think about the snapback issue fix? I actually think it's wonderful. Now the same principle applies that if you're a bad player and you have a controller that has very consistent dashback, that won't make you a good player. The same thing carries over into this, where all of a sudden now, because you have a controller with good snapback, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have good lasers or really good Sheik turnaround needles, but if you're able to do those techniques very well before, and things like controller inconsistencies hold you back, this is definitely something that will improve your game. Unfortunately though, this does have a slight side effect, which is every time I found you plug this controller in to a new setup, this controller will ghost to the left. Now I've contacted the Battle Beaver guys and they actually told me that they are very aware of this problem and that it is just a known side effect of having that resistor in the control stick box. This can be fixed by resetting your controller in game, which is holding Y, X, and start for 3 seconds, and you only need to do it once per new setup. Now if you're thinking this might be a little bit annoying, you're definitely right. It is something that I wish didn't exist, but after using this controller and feeling what a controller with good snapback actually plays like, I would honestly say it is still very much worth it. One thing to note is this actually won't fix your controller's dashback issue, because dashback and snapback are two completely different things. Now, controllers that actually have good dashback tend to not have snapback issues, but just because your controller doesn't have snapback issues doesn't mean that it won't have dashback issues. It's the whole rectangle square analogy. All squares are rectangles, not all rectangles are squares. Mostly all controllers with good dashback have good snapback. Not all controllers with good snapback have good dashback. Overall, I'm really impressed with all the modifications Battle Beaver is coming out with. Everything from the Paracord Cable cord to the Tactile Z Button to the snapback fix are all incredible, and I thank them once again for giving me the chance to test these out. If anybody is interested in any of these modifications, like I said, Battle Beaver will be coming up hopefully with a send-in form or some sort of method on their website that will be open to the masses for anybody who's interested in getting these modifications done to their controller. The cable, of course, is a complete aesthetic modification and will have no impact on your gameplay. The snapback reduction fix is a modification, of course, that will impact your gameplay, and like I said, the Z button is something that will come down to preference. Like I said, it's a bit of a harder press than your regular Z button, and if that's something that you don't want, it might be something that hinders your performance because it'll bother you. However, if it's something that you do want, and you do really want to feel the press of your Z button, then it is absolutely something you should go for. Thank you guys for hearing me out. I do hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.